I have seen in recent times leadership at the highest level in Trinidad and Tobago making public statements that people who are opposed to the current direction of foreign policy, that is, supporting the efforts of the United States of America to build up their military strength in the region, utilizing Trinidad and Tobago and other countries as bases for their operations, which many believe will ultimately lead to aggressive acts of war against our neighbor, Venezuela. Our leaders are now saying that those who oppose this are criminals, that they are drug traffickers themselves, or that they have a stake in benefiting from drug trafficking. I think that the painting of one's political opponents as criminals is a tactic that has been used time and time again. Donald Trump is doing it in the United States of America. The Germans did it in the 1940s. It's tried and tested. It's abhorrent, but it works. Ironically, a lot of the same leaders who make statements condemning others as criminals are themselves guilty of any number of crimes, maybe multiple felonies, or are themselves guilty of supporting people who are committing those very crimes that they are accusing others of. For example, maybe pardoning a convicted drug trafficker. So the hypocrisy is astounding and takes away from any case that they might have that they actually care about going after criminals. But let's talk about criminals and the weaponization of criminalizing others for political gain and also, I think, for psychological purposes. So, one of the racist tropes that is common in my community is the idea of people of African descent being criminals. And this whole concept of being scared of those other people who are committing crimes and making life unbearable for the rest of us. And I think it's true that most Trinidadians have terrible experiences with being victims of crime. But if we really look at who is perpetrating these crimes, I think that it would be useful. It is a myth to say that as an Indo Trinbagonian, I am more likely to be violated criminally by somebody from a different background from me. I grew up around all kinds of crime in my community that are normalized and swept under the rug and often ignored. Is physically assaulting your wife not a crime? Is getting drunk and assaulting other people who you may or may not know not a crime? Is driving drunk not a crime? Is embezzling funds from your place of work not a crime? Is engaging in shady business practices not a crime? Is paying employees less than you are required to not a crime? Is abusing your children not a crime? Why is it that I, just as one individual, know multiple people who have been killed by family members? Why is it that I know more than one person who has died in a fiery car crash caused by themselves because of drunk driving? Why is it that I personally have been affected by the common cultural practice of threatening to harm family members because of disputes over inheritance and property and that kind of thing? You see, violence is endemic to our culture. The idea that it is coming from the outside, from those non Indian people, from those migrants, that is a lie. that we tell ourselves so that we don't have to deal with the issues that have always been there, generation upon generation of trauma and violence. And it's easier to think that the threat is external. And it's a psychological trick to think that the source of all your problems is a random person that you don't even know who was on a boat and was murdered by a powerful foreign force. You might celebrate that because you have been harboring some kind of opposition to people you have dehumanized and called pests and all other kinds of words. Watching them die is like some kind of morbid fulfillment of a fantasy. But your problems run much deeper than that and take a whole lot more work to even begin to address. This idea that we are innocent and they are guilty, they are criminals, is misplaced. You see, savvy politicians take advantage of your pre existing bigotry against other people to manipulate you. You think they really care about crime? How can they when their very actions are illegal according to all legal standards? How can criminals of the highest level be dictating what is right and what is wrong? I have men in my own family who suffered the most horrific things as children and ended up in jail, I think, as a direct result of that. One of them for theft and another one for murder. I am Indo-Chimbegonian. We have that in our community. It's not uncommon at all. The one time in my life that I was held up at gunpoint by multiple men with automatic weapons. They were men of my ethnicity who looked like me. These lies don't work on me. They are bad people in all groups who take advantage of others who don't care who they hurt in their pursuit of what they want. You find them at all levels. They are businessmen and politicians who have committed heinous acts and will continue to do so to get what they want. They are thieves and drug addicts with hearts of gold. Anybody who has lived long enough understands that life is more complicated than the divisive tropes that politicians feed us to keep us separated from each other, to stop us from uniting against them and the benefits that they derive from fooling us. So ask yourself this: is it that the people from other groups that you hate are bigger criminals? Or is it that your group is just better at hiding their crimes?